welcome to Akkuzachu Sangama. Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran. He is an eminent judge of the Kerala High Court. Both he and his father are senior advocates in the Kerala High Court. There are very few people who have both father and son as the senior advocates. He became a judge in 2016. He's just 54 years currently, and he only has 6 years to retire. His pronouncements are extraordinary. Often he involves in social issues like police, economy, human rights, ruling, development of the country, etc. He is also very practical. One of his speeches is now very prominent, very viral in social media. Very few have not heard of it. A speech about drugs, the most problematic addictions of our country, which keeps destroying our country to the utmost core. It's not your cliche anti-drug speech. It was a speech from his own personal experiences and how his parents raised him. My dear viewers, I would like to make one thing very clear. I do not have enough knowledge and maturity to talk about such a controversial, such a sensitive topic like drugs and alcohol because I am too young actually. But I felt like as a citizen of this very proud country called India, I felt like it's my responsibility to spread this very important message. Because this message is not only about drugs harming our society, but it's also about the future of everyone and this country on which everything depends on. This might be an extremely long video, I'm not sure, but it might be a very long video, but this is something everyone should hear. And this speech is said by Honorable Justice Devan Ramachandran, and I'm going to say the same thing that he said as almost sort of like a declamation. And this is purely an attempt to spread this message. And please share this video to everyone. It's not for my good, it's not for the good of this channel. It's just to spread this message, because not only is this message very important, but this message, if one person listens to it, at least one person listens to it, it might change his or her mindset. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, welcome to Akkuzachu Hangama. Let's get into the video. We always say that a generation is 25 years. Every 25 years, generations change. The most easiest way to destroy a nation is by corrupting today's generation. In a country, we might see the biggest roads, the biggest buildings, and the biggest infrastructures. But when we say that the citizens of a country is corrupted, when we say that the citizens of this country is under the influence of drugs, our country is actually nothing. It's the citizens that make the nation, not the buildings, not the roads. An easy terrorist activity is not by firing bombs in the country. It's easier to wipe out the future of the nation by supplying drugs to the respective citizens of the state, of the country as well. You know about the Indian Constitution. If we look into the fundamental rights of India, there is a fundamental duty under Article 51. In that, sub-article J states that every youngster, every citizen, to be excellent is an obligation. It's a duty. Let me repeat. Every youngster, every citizen, to be excellent is an obligation. It is a duty. It states that if every citizen is excellent, India automatically becomes excellent. What is the shortcut to destroy the nation, you ask? It is by destroying the nation by corrupting it, making acceptable and a commonplace to do things now like drug abuse. There are 3 types of drugs that are very common. Number 1 is stimulant. It provides refreshment to you. So just imagine you have to study something or you have to stay awake all night to do something pretty important. Imagine there's something that you have to do and you haven't completed, so you're planning to stay awake all night to do it. Having a stimulant can instantly refresh you. You know what I mean? It can brighten up your mood. And the second one is depressant. Imagine that you feel very overwhelmed. This depressant, by consuming this depressant, you'll feel calm, very relaxed. Then, the more you consume this depressant, the more it will eat you, the more it will haunt you day by day. There might be a state there might be a condition, a situation in this country when people can't live without depressants or stimulants or drugs. The third one is hallucinogens. It's a very important, horrible, and a dangerous thing. By consuming a hallucinogen, you will enter into something that does not exist or something that is not there, almost like a trance. Every drug trafficker usually and mainly targets youngsters because till the age of mid-20s to late 20s, the body part named prefrontal cortex is still developing. It is the body part that is in charge of maintaining our thought and decision-making processes. And at this age, decision-making is extremely experimental. Drug traffickers target youngsters. Drug traffickers lure other youngsters by using youngsters from schools, your own peer groups, because when children see other children from their own peer groups doing things like drugs or smoking or drinking, they automatically feel like they should be doing the same thing as well so that they fit in, so that their peers think that they're cool. The usual strategy of drug traffickers is not to directly push the youngster into drugs. Its first step is smoking. Something that is, considered to be very common in this society is smoking. Something that bothers me is that nowadays smoking is very acceptable. Smoking is something that everybody does. People think that there's nothing wrong with smoking. Drinking and smoking is considered very cool. People think that there's nothing wrong in drinking. In my generation, we used to smoke and drink in a very sneakily manner. Our parents shouldn't know. Anybody except our close friends shouldn't know. Not only is this dangerous, but according to me, this is extremely unacceptable. My father used to tell me, "You shall not smoke, you shall not drink, do not ask me why." I will tell you something. Do not start smoking or drinking because it is extremely unnecessary. Because I am 54 years old. I was born in 1968. I have survived all this time without smoking or drinking. And I can tell you honestly, it is not necessary. And it actually, in fact, it helps me. Our body is a very remarkable machine. Our brain is a very complex phenomenon. It does not need any drugs, stimulants, smoking, drinking, or hallucinogens to work. You can train your body to work to the optimum without all this. To all the people that take drugs today, let me tell you, get ready to face its consequences tomorrow. You will not be able to see the bad time coming for you. There is no escaping from it. Life is not numbers, it's the experience. It is the wholesomeness of our being. Shankar Acharya, he only lived for 32 years. Swami Vivekananda only lived for 39 years, but we still talk about them today. They are the proof that life is not about numbers, it is about the experience. Thinking that, oh, I'm only 17, I'm only 13, I'm only 15, let's look into it when I'm 50 years old. No, it's complete nonsense, because before you know it, you will reach 50. So if you want to enjoy your life, you need to have the feeling of having full control of your body and mind. No stimulant, hallucinant, or depressant will help you. In fact, it will destroy you. It will eat you inch by inch. When you're trapped in the nuisance of drugs, boys and girls will do things that they cannot do because their body is not under their control. Please understand that life and drugs, they do not go together at all. Let me repeat, life and drugs do not go together at all. It's either drugs or life. If you choose drugs, you choose death. It can be today, tomorrow, a week later, a month later, or a decade later. And all those 10 years, all that decade, you will suffer the consequences of taking or consuming drugs. I conclude by saying that your friends might tell you it's just a smoke. It can't be that bad. It's just a drink. It's just a peg. It can't be that much of a deal, you know? This is how the habit starts. Your duty is not only to prevent yourself from drugs, but it's also to help others to prevent themselves from drugs for the good of our nation. Thank you so much.